Hello, 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 and hello again. It's nice to see you here. It's nice to know that you've actually left your cozy beds to just come in front of the computer to listen to what we have for you today. It's so impressive that you're always here to support, to like, to share, to comment. Wow, you are awesome. Thank you very much for supporting in every way you can. And today, without wasting time, we have an interesting guest with us today. She is, and like I said, I will always bring my Fajikula girls. Yes, yes, we are here to shine. Also, I am bringing one of my Fajikula sisters. We call ourselves Feji sisters. So she's into so many things. She is, well, her name first of all will give you a hint of who she is and what she has been up to. And I think she's going to do the justice of giving us a full detail of who she is, introducing herself. But before then, I will welcome on the screen Bukola Meshida. You are welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mind you, this is our first time of seeing after how many years? After how many decades?
30
After
years.
30, yes, yes. So thank you for coming on to do this, because I know you are like an octopus, even more, if there's anything more than an octopus, into so many things. So do you
Yeah.
want to introduce yourself briefly?
All right, my name is
Thank you.
Bukola Meshida, and right now I work as a Scrum Master and then supporting software development teams. And also, I'm a graphic artist, I'm a makeup artist, and I'm just a lover of the arts.
Mm,
So I find expression in a few ways, a number of ways, and my life journey has brought me to a stage where I think I'm functioning at my optimal right now, because over the years I've been able to explore and then prune down.
mm,
So right now I'm having a great time. I'm one of the privileges you're going to have in this life is the privilege of being yourself.
mm.
And so when you're yourself, you're in your element, things just seem to click. And I'm right now in that sport where things seem to click. I pray about some things and they manifest before I get up my knees.
Mm.
And, I just feel like, okay, there's a stamp of approval from heaven and I'm living my best life. So this is me, Bukola Meshida.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. And I'm sure some people will be like, Meshida, that name is not a common name in Nigeria.
Mm.
So you want to give us a background of who the Meshidas are? Because I know there's so many people who are wondering, oh, is that her? Is that not her? So who
Okay.
are you in the Meshida clan?
Okay. So Meshida were originally from Edo.
Hmm.
And my grandfather is the first to settle, was the first to settle in Ondo State, the Akoko Edo area. And we finally settled in Akure, Itaobolu. That's Akure North local government. And the pronunciation of our name is Meshida, which is I haven't done anything bad.
Hmm.
So it's actually Yoruba,
Hmm.
and it's a statement of fact
Hmm.
that by moving or by deciding to settle in a place of my choosing, because the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So if I choose to settle in a part where I want, where it resonates with me,
Hmm.
so be it. I haven't done
Wow.
anything bad.
Hmm.
So
Wow,
it
wonderful.
stays, it has stayed, and over again, we've done nothing bad by being
Hmm.
ourselves, by being in our element, and by expressing the gifts that God has given us. So
Wow, wonderful,
that's it.
wonderful. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's wonderful to know, because I would have been like any other person asking what is actually the meaning of that name. But thank you very much for throwing more light to that. Now it takes us to why we are here. We are here to talk about an agile mindset. And I see this coming from your background as a scrum master, a project manager, if I will say, for people who are thinking, what's scrum master? project, it has to do with an aspect of project management, is it? But you're going to explain that to us. So
I'm going to
now,
explain.
and I know you're a mom, you're busy, you have businesses, you're into too many, not too many, but so many. I mean, not you too, so many things. And I believe this has helped you in your walk. And there's so many people who are listening to us now who are thinking, wow, if she can do that, I can do that, and I need to have an agile mindset to be able to do even more. So please, could you um, tell us what is an agile mindset? And this is where I will be leaving the floor to you to just tell us, educate us. So please inform us, inspire us with your information. And for those who are watching, please write a comment, write your questions, and she will be ready to answer them. Over to you.
All right. Thank you, Bumi. All right. So now you said something about project management and agile. Yes, there in the past, or the on the project management landscape, there's a waterfall methodology, and then there's the agile methodology. Now, the waterfall methodology is where you have the project manager, you develop your software all through from it's a linear development system where where it takes it's a large budget. It's you develop from start to finish, and at the end of the days, most of the time, the budget is so large, it takes a long period of time, and then when there are errors,
Mm,
everything, all stages is affected, and then you have problematic software. Now, with the agile methodology, it's an iterative uh, method where you deliver value in sprints of 2 weeks, in by in iterations. So you develop in bits, and so every 2 weeks you deliver the minimum viable product to
mm,
your customer. For example, you have your Apple phone, and you see your updates every now and then. Now, between one version and the other, instead of waiting for 1 year to get your next version of Apple, your next Apple iPhone 3, iPhone 4, 5, 6 to 13,
mm.
you get your
Now
updates.
14.
Yes, you get your updates, and those are iterations.
Mm,
Those are our teams working and improving. So it's actually a culture of continuous improvement in
mm,
iterations, in bits. So when you break down complex situations into small solvable problems, into solutions that you deliver in iterations,
mm,
you are not standing in the same place hoping for a massive change.
mm,
And then you're overwhelmed, and then you're invested in time, emotion, and everything. And then you now come back to see that your stage 2 out of stage 9 is bad. And there's nothing you're going to do. You're going to have to start all over again.
mm,
So this methodology has, been used in different areas. It's not now just a software development methodology anymore, because it helps in every facet of life, every aspect of life. We use in manufacturing, in whatever, wherever you need to deliver value.
mm,
If you break down into simple chunks, and you're able to deliver constantly, the magic word is consistency. So if you're able to deliver constantly, then you're able to always have value. And for in this life, as long as you're meeting your goals,
mm,
you're setting achievable goals and you're meeting the goals, that's when we're actually happy, because we're achieving and we're moving steadily towards a greater purpose. So now, with my exposure to this information, you can't live better than the level of information you have.
Sure.
So with that level of information, I was able to also look into myself.
Hmm.
Because see, the Scrum or Agile ceremonies that I facilitate, all those ceremonies with my teams, starting with the daily stand up. Here, the daily stand up is a 15-minute meeting where we check in with the team every day to see their progress. And all that progress, there's a tracking tool. There are different types. There's a Rally, there's a Jira. There's a tracking tool where you go and all your stories, all your user stories are put in there, and the work you're doing, the progress of your work is monitored,
Hmm.
is tracked from there. So whatever it is you're doing on your work, you put it on there. You put your comments, whatever is happening, such that anyone that wants to, find out what's happening with the project can go open and see what's happening.
Hmm.
So that's why we encourage our team members to always, log in their progress on a daily basis.
Hmm.
Now, if you do something once in a while, then it doesn't count.
Hmm.
You don't get success from something you do once in a while. You get success from something you do consistently every day.
Every day.
And see, when you repeat something every day, you become an expert.
Hmm.
So you don't become a good driver by talking about how to drive.
Sure.
And you become a good driver by driving. If you have a craft, you become a master of your craft by practicing that craft on a daily basis. So that principle underpins that ceremony. That's a daily stand-up where you don't. It's not a status reporting meeting, but we just we excuse me, excuse me. We want to answer three questions at the daily stand-up. What did I work on yesterday? What do I plan to work on today? And do I have any impediments? Do I have anything blocking me? So, if we're able to answer these three questions, we already have a plan for the day. And by sharing with your team members, that is, you have accountability partners that you're sharing with. So, we just want you to tell us what you plan to do for the day. Because tomorrow, we're going to look at what you promised to do yesterday and have you done it. So nobody chases you around. No manager is going to want to come and ask you, oh, um, to micromanage you. We've cut that out of, the workflow.
Hmm.
So on a daily basis, we check in. And then we also have the sprint planning, where we plan our work for the 2 weeks that we're going to work. That's our iteration. And we plan every 2 weeks. Now, at the planning meeting, we look at what we've been able to achieve, and then what we're going to be achieving the next 2 weeks. What do we have left, and then what are we planning for the 2 weeks, and then we move on.
Hmm.
Also, we now have the grooming calls, where we look at the details of the work we're doing. If we have any questions, if you're not clear about what the business is asking for, that is the time you ask all those questions. And then you estimate your stories, where you're going to look at how complex the story is, what amount of effort is going to put into it, and are you going to be able to deliver it in 2 weeks? So you break down your stories and you give it, we call them story points. So that's the meeting where you do that. And then we have the retrospective. After your 2 weeks, we look back at the 2 weeks, because all of these things, the Yorubas have a proverb for that. And it is, when a child falls down, he looks forward. When an adult that is mature falls down, he looks back
Sure.
and looks at the cause of the fall. So, with that retrospective, we're able to look back at the last 2 weeks, what went well, what didn't go quite well, who did very well that you want to give kudos to, and then what are our action points? What are we going to do to make the next 2 weeks better? How do we want to improve the process? And are there any anti patterns? This is a meeting to call it out.
Hmm.
Say, oh, I don't think this should be happening. And we give the reason why and the cost of not doing what we're meant to do. We look at everything and then we move forward. We get our action item and we go work on it. So imagine doing that continuously for a whole year, and you have goals and you're constantly meeting those goals every 2 weeks. Guess what? You're going to have a long list of achievements at the end of the year. So when you're celebrating at the end of the year, it's not just an empty party, it is a celebration of achievements. So you owe it to yourself to decide that I want to be better at something. I want to, identify the value I want to give to the world. And how am I going to be compensated for that value I'm putting out to the world? What service do I want to be? How do I want to be remembered? What is going to be my contribution in my existence? All of those questions you're going to answer, and having that mindset to continuously improve and to deliver value. There's I don't know how you're going to be able to live a fulfilled life without that mindset. So it's important for everyone under the influence of my voice to begin to see life in that from that window. What are you bringing to the table? And then how are you going to be compensated? So, and then you want to look at the activity that gives you the most value and the most pleasure that you look forward to. That is the only time you're going to live in your purpose, in your element, and radiate from inside out. And that is what attracts people to you. You don't buy a crowd, you influence people to follow you. So that is the kind of leadership that we encourage in the agile environment. And that is what Scrum Masters are. They're servant leaders. Now we're referred to as true leaders of our teams.
True. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's a lot of information about being having an agile mindset in our daily lives. So in applying, the agile, what do we call them, strategies.
Principles, yeah.
Yes, applying them to our daily lives. So you talked about a stand up, a
Yeah.
15-minute stand up. That's where you kind of update, everyone brings an update of what they've been doing, the progress they've been doing. I mean, they've been making progress, they've been making in their daily task. So how do you apply that to our daily lives? Do
Okay.
you have do you call your spirit, soul, and body together and say, okay, now we have done this, we are here now? How do you, or do you call families? Who are those people you call together for a daily man? And if I may have to if I may have to, let me not spiritualize it, I'll say maybe my devotion, my meditation in the morning when I wake up, that could be my update. Or maybe last thing at night when I want to sleep, I have a meeting with myself, myself and I. I don't know, but you want to expand that in our daily lives, because there are youths listening, there are moms, there are dads, there are children listening to this this topic, and they're wondering, how does this apply to me? So could you please throw more light on that? Thank
Okay.
you.
Now, the best kind of uh, assessment is your personal assessment. You can't pretend to yourself. You cannot deceive yourself. You can deceive other people, but you see yourself, you cannot deceive yourself. And you never pretend, you can never pretend to be happy in yourself. If there's anything that's making you unhappy, you know. And at the end of the day, you have the answer to what is going to make you happy. And so, when we talk about personal reflection, that is what it is. Every day, you want to go to bed. Before you go to bed, when you lay in bed, you've done your activities, you want to ask yourself, what did I achieve today? What did sometimes you look back at the conversations you had during the day, and sometimes you want to be like, oh, okay, I shouldn't have said that, or that was bad, or that was mean of me. And then, okay, I'm going to do better tomorrow. And so also, so that's with yourself. You have what you want to achieve for yourself. For many years, I studied philosophy, and for many years, I learned about a vision board, activating your subconscious mind. And theoretically, I knew about vision boards. I could teach vision boards. I taught vision board classes. And then I didn't make my vision board until last year. Actually make it and put it by my bed. And you see what that does for you is it's the first thing you see when you wake up, and it's the last thing you see when you sleep. And those are pictures of the things you would like to have, what you'd like to be, what you like to do, and what you like to have. There's a process to it. It's not just a picture of nice things. What do you want to be? How do you want to put your gifts out there to the world? What need are you satisfying? And then you need to be able to articulate that. Then what do you want to do with it? And then what do you want to have? That value chain, you have to establish it. So now, when you go, so nothing is good or bad, really. How does it take you to your goal? You see, so if you know that smoking, for example, is going to shorten your life, and you have a big vision, you don't need a prophet to tell you that you need to stop smoking so that you can lengthen your life, you can have good health to be able to move and achieve your goals. So we're not talking about who is making heaven or hell. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about immorality. We are asking smoking, and it is written on the pack boldly. Smokers are liable to die young. So if it is your goal to die young, then go ahead and smoke it. If you have a vision that is going to last you 50, 60 years, and you want to see your children's children, it's not rocket science. So the decision is yours. I'm not even going to say, oh, okay, so now you decide. So you weigh your options and go with the best. So that's it.
Yeah.
So when you finish with yourself, then we want to talk about the next group of people, your children. Every day, I have my Kanban board here. That's like a flow chart where you have your workflow. And I call my kids, what's your plan for the day? What did you do yesterday? What's your plan for today? And is there anything I can help with? That's the impediment. Is there anything that can stop you from doing what you wanted to do? So and that's a source of information. The kids will tell you their goals, their dreams, their aspirations. They have an assignment. That's where you get access to all that information. Because in this new age we're in, where the telephone takes a majority of our time, it is possible for a family to sit down at dinner and everybody will be on their phone, eat, no conversation, and go away. And everybody's comfortable. Okay, nobody's disturbing me, but something is going on. Some other people are teaching your children something else online. So it's important to check in. That 15 minutes, you're gonna use it to buy so much because you have access to some vital information from your children. Also, spouses. Now we see people who say, "Oh, I don't where we grew apart because we have, different aspirations, and so we're like this, growing apart, doing our own thing, and then at the end of the day, we wonder why the divorce rate is high,
Mm,
and that's not rocket science. So if you're not checking in constantly, and even that should start when you start to date. What are your aspirations? Are your dreams aligning? Do you have common interests? If all of those things are no, and you have premature intimacy, then everything is empty.
mm,
Everything is empty. It's not, we're not playing. It's not dress rehearsal. That's your life. So that also is, something that the daily stand-up can do for you. And
mm,
that's the value it delivers, is an information session and a way to bond such that you're talking at the goal level. You will rather stick with someone that helps you to improve than
mm.
someone that depletes you.
Sure,
So
sure.
there you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's those strategies are applicable to every aspect of life. There was
Absolutely.
one thing I was reading about, one of the tips for how an agile mindset can be applied in life. It says, consider difficult tasks as an opportunity to learn what works and what doesn't work,
Okay.
and not as a barometer of whether you have a natural talent for it. And could you please advise students who are maybe going to be writing exams? They've got this big exam before them. That is their own difficult task.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's someone looking for a job. That's their own difficult task. Or maybe there's someone who is just I don't know, so many things about in life that apply to adults, children, and everyone else. So workers, family people, could you please throw more light on this? Consider difficult tasks as an opportunity to learn what works and what doesn't work.
Absolutely. Now, when you have a difficult task before you, the first thing you want to do is to churn down.
Mm,
You want to break it down into small, achievable chunks. Because anyone at all, there's some people that if you put a big bowl of food before them, they're not going to be able to eat.
at
So
all.
you become overwhelmed. So, and that applies to every aspect of life. So, your big problem, you have an exam. Yes, there are modules. That's why all subjects are taught in modules. You want to break down into modules. You want to look at, now assess which one is the most difficult for you. Now you identify that, and then you identify who can help me. See, man, the problem with many of us is we want to do things alone. That's why in Agile we encourage collaboration. We collaborate, that's why, and then that's why we also function as teams where we don't single out one person that, oh, this one, there's no finger pointing. It's a safe work environment. So, and we don't have champions. We work in teams. It's, if anything is going to happen, it's the whole team. If the team succeeds, it's the team. We give kudos internally, but we never turn anyone out to management or to. If you're being turned out, it is because management is looking at the metrics and you are not doing what you're supposed to do. We told you update your tracking tool daily. You're not going to update your tracking tool for 7 hours or 6 hours. It's a few minutes in the day. So if you're in the habit of saying, yes, 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 I'll do that, and you still do not, management is going to be looking through, and then they'll see who's not doing what. But that information is not going to come from the team to turn someone out, in. So it's in your interest. Do these small steps so that you don't do this big step out. So nobody's going to be, tailgating you or doing anything like that. So also you yourself that you want to achieve something. So identify who's going to help you with it and go ask for help. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is actually maturity. Knowing your limitations and identify people who are better than you and learn from them. So go learn. We encourage continuous learning. Continuous learning. So go ahead and continuously learn and learn from any source whatsoever, anyone that has that information you're looking for. Go get the information and put it to use and achieve your aim. So churn down, identify people and places, someone that can help with whatever it is you want to achieve, and go get the help you need. And then put in the work. There's no miracle anywhere. See, there are people who are always looking for the silver bullet, the magic pill, the babalawo that is going to give them one powder somewhere that they're going to rub on their empty head so that they can function. And it doesn't work like that. So you need to be willing to put in the work, and then you will get your results. So it is the constant work that you put in every day. If you're always going from point A to B to C to D, you will cover all the alphabets. And that's it, and it applies everywhere. Whatever it is, don't sit down on one spot. Continue to learn and improve. And as every 2 weeks, when you go back and reflect, you retrospect, you will identify what works for you. You're going to know what time of the day is best for you to study. And then you stick with that time. There's no way you're going to sit down here and know without trying. So it's good to try out and then eliminate what doesn't work and go with what works on a constant basis, and you'll see the magic. That is where the magic is.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's so inspiring to hear. So all of these things we're talking about are very much applicable in our daily lives. And I was going through the internet, found this where it talked about the core principles of Agile in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And the one that actually caught, well, so many of these caught my focus, and you've talked about a lot of them in different ways. There's something that caught my focus as face-to-face communication. That takes us back to what you talked about. Face-to-face communication is preferred over other forms of interaction.
Absolutely.
So no matter how much technology we have nowadays, we can't substitute it with having a face-to-face interaction. Yeah, we have Teams, we have Zoom, we have all these other things, but having an interaction with our children, the only time some people talk to their family members will be over the phone. I'm not, just like, I know it's a good thing. COVID has taught us a lot of things, but that was, like people will say, is a new norm. New norm as in, well, now we're going back to the real norm, the real norm now. But it had its own place at the time when we needed it, and we were grateful for that. But it should not take over our face-to-face communication with people, because that is how we tend to derive, customer satisfaction and all of these things. So what I have said, is that right? Or do you want to modify it in an agile way so that I'm not talking off course?
Well, some organizations are going back to hybrid. So some they're going back to the hybrid work model
Mm.
where they visit the office 2 or 3 times in a week, or some
Yes.
2 or 3 times in a month. And that does something, when that's when the team is co-located, excuse me, they're located within the same geographical area. Now, unfortunately, most development teams are not co-located. Many are offshore, some are onshore, but in different states. So we'll, we'll still have to use technology. And by being face to face means that when you're on in your virtual meetings, turn on your camera. Now, work from home is tricky
Mm.
because when you don't turn on your camera
Mm.
and you're on your bed, you change, virtual backgrounds. There's something that happens to your voice and your brain when you're sitting in bed working. Going to become complacent. You're going to sleep off in the meeting. You're not going to be attentive.
Mm.
And when you are not listening, you miss details, very important details. And those in the office know when you start to get distracted.
Mm.
And then your efficiency drops. So please tell me who's going to buy an inefficient hand. So that responsibility lies on you to ensure that you're constantly delivering value. So that discipline has to do now with the mindset. There's no class captain to micromanage you around, but you want to ensure that you are that person that they go to when they need a listening ear.
Mm.
And one of the major responsibilities of the Scrum Master is someone that listens. Active listening, listening for what is not said,
Mm.
listening for what is implied, and being able to ask questions to clarify and distill the information that is needed to solve problems. Your mind needs to be in top shape, and you have to be like a magnet,
Mm.
you know, pick the right information. So, see, that has to do with your mindset. It's nothing external. You need to commit to wanting to be your very best.
Mm.
And wanting to be the very best is a journey. You're never going to arrive at perfection.
Yeah.
But the desire for perfection drives you. And it's a journey, it's a continuous journey that you're going to continue to improve and improve and improve.
Mm.
So that's how it works. So
Thank
face to face, we want to make sure you're on camera.
you. Hmm.
Myself, I come to my workstation, get up, get a shower, come to my workstation, and be ready for my team. And of course, your team is motivated when they see you. You're dressed up, you're welcoming them to the meeting, they look forward to seeing you. You're there with your icebreakers, you're there to facilitate a conversation.
Mm.
So as a facilitator, you make the conversation better,
Yeah.
you make the conversation easier by being up and doing yourself. So you can't motivate someone by sitting down and like, okay, well, so they
Slouching.
they will, yeah, slouching.
Mhm.
They too will, you know, um,
Demoralized, you'll say.
demoralize, and they'll suck from your energy. They'll take from your energy and
Yeah.
mimic you. And
Mm.
so you've lost that team, and that is counterproductive.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you. That's so awesome. Thank you. Finally, the benefits of an agile mindset. You know, you've said so many of them, and I can see that even here on the screen. The one I'm particular about is the first one that says it promotes responsible leadership and management. Do you think our leaders, you know, in politics and other places, do you think everyone needs to go through an agile mindset training, if there's anything like that? Or do they have to be a scrum master, or is it the scrum masters that teach them how to have an agile mindset? I don't know. Could you please explain to us? What do you
Of
think?
course, our leaders as well as our followers. See, sometimes it's not even about leadership alone.
Mm,
It is even the followers. We're constantly looking for ways to circumvent the law. We're always constantly looking for ways to cheat. Where you work for someone, they don't want to pay you, they have ways they want to checkmate. I can go on and on. But the truth is, if we're really desirable of seeing a new Nigeria, it is everyone's responsibility, really. And then, now, our entry level for leadership in Nigeria is worrisome. Someone can be the president with school sat, but the university vice chancellor has to be a professor or a minimum of doctorate. But our president will be someone with school sets. There's a major question mark there. And see, it's not the classroom education per se. We're looking at the level of discipline required to get those academic qualifications. You cannot tell me that someone that has the discipline to go through a doctorate has the same level of discipline with someone that has school sat or that couldn't make the his undergrad. And nobody can convince me otherwise. There's a separate level of commitment and responsibility. So if you're able to achieve that, it is possible for you to be able to understand certain principles and certain things that need to be done in your area of leadership. So I don't know where we're going to start with that with the constitution, but something needs to be done about that.
sure.
And the entry level for leadership in our country has a major question mark on it.
Yeah.
And then the followership too. We need to be desirous of a new Nigeria.
Yeah.
Some people love the fact that some things are loose.
That's
We're
right.
not really bothered
Mm,
about what happens as long as it is our family that is stealing the money.
mm,
But the moment another family gets there, we start to talk about how some things are not the way they are meant to be. But when it is our own,
national cake.
oh,
National cake.
our child, let him do it. Let's do it the other way. It's from
Mm,
our village. We are all deceiving ourselves.
mm,
So until that time, when we decide that, you know what, we're tired of all of this, and we're getting there steadily,
mm,
when we reach rock bottom,
yeah.
we will all come together. It will not matter whether it is Igbo, Hausa, now we're still seeing the lines.
Mm,
We are
yeah.
not quite there yet.
The elephant in the room.
Oh, when we are there, When you're at the rock bottom, you know why you're at the rock bottom, and you be like, I need to change my life right now.
Mm.
We need to get to that place before any meaningful change can happen. So
Mm.
we're constantly, praying and we're waiting.
Yes.
But we are getting there. It is $1 to 710 or 720 naira now.
Mm.
When it gets to 1,000, I will see whether we are there yet.
Mm. Wow, thank you. Thank you. It was nice having a chat with you. Thank you very much for your time. I know
And
you're a very busy lady, and this is time for you to talk about your tentacles, your octopus tentacles, what you are into. I'll put your Facebook and Instagram page on the screen one after the other. And this is where you're going to tell us what exactly you do outside, because I can see you apply the agile mindset, the growth mindset, because agile mindset is a growth mindset. You apply it into every sphere, and I can see it. And people are talking like Ceci Alice is there, the hair making is there, the makeup, the so many. She's a woman of many talents. So you're going to be talking to us now about what you do, so that people who are willing to connect with you. You talked about collaboration, and people who want to have you as their, maybe they need a mentor, they need someone to help them with what you do. People might want to connect with you. So could you please explain all those tentacles to us, what you
right.
do on a daily basis?
Okay, yeah. Back in Nigeria, like I said, I studied philosophy. I started out as in an advertising agency as a youth copper. So I worked in
Mm.
all the departments. I worked in copywriting, media buying, client service, and while working in all those areas, I was being trained. I did graphics, and I could, from start to finish, run an advert campaign.
Wow.
So on my own, and I would do the above the line and below the line advertising conveniently. So at the end of my service here, I started Glitzen. That's a a print and design and print shop, and I ran that till 2017. So of course, we grew and grew. We started with one organization, and by the time I was leaving, we had about 20 organizations that were servicing in terms of print production, graphic design, and promotional items, promotional goods. And so we did a lot of print. We did a lot of designs. Um, we did Ebony Live. Uh, what other companies? Equity Indemnity. Lots of organizations we printed for.
Mm.
And when I got to the US, it wasn't easy. I worked, remotely for a few months, but it wasn't, that easy. And then, of course, before I left, I had already sold the printing press because I had a
Mm.
printing press at one point.
Wow.
So I sold the printing press. It was a lithographic printing press. I sold that, and before I left. So when I got to the US, I started out as a healthcare worker, and of course, that's my day-to-day life there. As a healthcare worker, I gave birth to Cici Alice.
Mm.
And Cici Alice is this character from Ondo State. Many of us from Nigeria always work in healthcare.
Yeah.
And we have this, and some of the things, some of the concepts just came at me. In Nigeria, we have these ladies that we used to call them nurses. But they're not actually nurses. They are, caregivers. Yeah,
Mm.
they're caregivers, and they will actually take their children, and these caregivers will give them injection. If you try that in the US, you're going to jail. Like, there are clear professional boundaries. A caregiver is not a nurse. Simply
Mm.
because they wear scrubs doesn't mean They're nurses. You have to go through training. There's stipulated training for nurses to go through. And then when you qualify is when you can do all of those. But trying to address some of those things that are happening.
Mm.
And Cecilia spoke about several issues. I spoke with the Ondo State dialect, and of course, with the alienation that happened to us, and many people were shocked that Bukola, so you can speak Ondo dialect, and I'm like, are you for real? So why are you shocked if you see an Englishman speak English? Why are you shocked? But I know because while we were growing up in our primary schools, it was sacrilege to speak your language. We were fined actually. We were told that we spoke vernacular, and we were
Mm.
fined. So it's part of the alienation we faced in the colonial era.
Mm.
But then after independence, we're no longer under colonial rule, but we are the small colonial masters
Of ourselves.
ourselves,
Yes.
policing people who, you know, have accents
Mm.
amongst ourselves. It's really funny. We will say, "Oh, this person, won't say the is speaking is in Lagos, so you have to speak English in Lagos." I'm like, are you serious? you know, and so and then many of us also didn't teach our children to speak Yoruba. We feel like, oh, okay, it is fly for your children not to understand Yoruba, and I'm wondering what really happened to us.
Mm.
And you see, it is you cannot function above the information that's available to you.
Yeah.
So we have identity issues. We spend lots of money to buy artificial hair to look Western, and I'm always like, this alienation is deep seated,
Mm.
and it is standards of beauty have been changed. We want to the more Western, the more beautiful. And I don't know, well, I think I know where that is coming from, but we need to also wake up also from our slumber and begin to be comfortable in our skin
Mm.
and know what suits us as African, and not want to change our nature for anything.
Yeah.
Be comfortable in your skin, be proud of your heritage, and just do you, you know, receive that's beauty, and live with it, run with it.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. So that's for Cecialis. Uh, then what else? I just decided from all of my, you know, talents and gifts. I did hair at the time. I still braid my daughter's hair,
Mm.
and of course I don't need to take her somewhere or make an appointment and drive several minutes just to have braids put in. I can do all of that.
Mm.
Knotless braids, twists, cornrows, Ghana weaving, and I'll do all of those. But I just feel like it is too manual.
Mm.
It is too manual, and I'll spend 2 hours to braid someone's hair when I can pick a healthcare shift and get my $300.
Wow.
So I can't. There's no reason I should do that. So I would spend the 2 hours do my daughters on once in 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll. But that's why I don't do hair commercially.
Mm.
Then makeup. My sister Banke she's explored that part of her for many
Mm.
years, 20 years or over 20 years, and it started out as a hobby. And also, I of course all through my undergrad days, I applied my own makeup, and even then, makeup wasn't like we have it now. So my own application as well. We have a cousin, Sister Titi Ajayi. She was a fine art teacher, back in Akure as well.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember her.
Yes.
Yeah.
She taught me how to tweeze my eyebrows many
Wow.
years ago. So I put that information to use. She taught me illusion, how to, if you want to make your eyes look bigger, if you want to make it look smaller,
Wow.
perspective. She taught us all of those in class, and then she
Mm.
taught us shading.
Yeah.
She taught
True.
us shading, and then when you finish shading, you blot. She taught us to blot with our pencils and all. You blot your shading with your pencil so it looks smooth and nice.
Mm.
So that's where how you achieve a sphere from a circle.
Hmm.
So and you do that with your cheek. When you want to highlight your cheek, you darken the sides to give it that, so you can see that's round, and then you highlight with your highlighter. So it is that same basic principle that is being used, and over the years it's worked for me. So my foundation in art was laid by my cousin,
Mm.
Sister Titi Ajayi, and we've we've grown and
One
grown,
more then. Mm.
multiplied the knowledge, but that basic knowledge was put in by her.
Wow.
And then so for makeup, that market is wide. It's
Mm.
insatiable. That many people, many women want to look beautiful, and there's something it does for you in terms of your confidence, in terms of endorphins. You feel good
Mm.
when you look good, and you're able to project better, as it were. So that's like feeding. That's when you say you want to take care of yourself, you want to have attention for yourself. You have your ceremonies, and you want to look a certain way. So it's useful in the film industry if you want to be like a makeup artist for the opera, there are different skill sets that you can explore. Creating impressions, creating looks for photography, for artists, for concerts. Stage makeup is different from everyday makeup, as you would know. Stage makeup is far heavier and more defined, so that when the lights do come on, it creates the desired look. And so you can achieve just about anything with the right tools and the right technique. So everything is in iterations. Once again, you build a look from start to finish. You learn a technique in iterations, in bits, in modules, and then you're able to deliver the value and get paid. So using the agile mindset, I sat down one day and I was like, you know what? I need to be able to live my life. I want to enjoy my life. I want to make money. And I want to be able to deliver good value as well. So I have to prune down. Do I have to have a WIP limit, a work in
Mm.
progress limit. That way I'll be more effective, and then I'll be able to enjoy my money that I've made also.
Yeah.
Be able to also have more time for my kids, my relationships, and all of that. So that way I prune down. I'm like, okay, I'll do makeup gilly for parties, right now. That's what I'm focusing on right now. I put out that information. That's beautified by Bukola. That's my Instagram. I put it there. And then, of course, I find expression. I enjoy the arts, like I said. I don't know if you remember back in Akure, I used to mime on stage. Hmm. So TikTok is good for that, to still express that. Because there are times that there's songs that I just want to mime and just vibe to it and all that. So that way, it will also create traffic for my page, create awareness. It's still part of social media marketing. So drive traffic to your page and bring people before your service and be able to convert to paying customers. So that is something that I, decided to do, and that is it. So makeup and then my 9 to 5. Every other thing, I'll just concentrate on these ones and see where we go. See what clients come. And when the clients come, it will now determine skill, what part of my skill I now focus on according to the kind of clients that coming through the door.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We have spent 1 hour talking. Wow, it felt like we've been here for 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Wow,
Okay.
beautiful. So thank you very much. Wow, I'm sure if we have other questions from viewers, thank you for waiting this far to listen to Bukola Meshida. She's a woman of many stuff. I can't even say, oh, she's a scrum master, but she's a scrum master, she's a hairdresser, she's a makeup artist, she's a gele person, she's a mimer, she's everything in one. And God has gifted you. Well done. Thank you very much for adding value to your world through this. I'll say this is where we call it a wrap. But I don't know if you have any last words for the people out there who are listening to you.
Well, my last my last word would be go and be yourself.
Mm.
Make sure that you're remembered for something of significance and put in the work. Then there is no silver bullet, there is no miracle anywhere. We are the miracle. It's a miracle to be alive, it's a miracle to be healthy, and it's a miracle to be able to think about anything and make it happen. So you go out there, whatever mindset you're operating, make sure that you begin to look the agile way. You're able to change quickly, pivot quickly. If something is not working, make the desired change and keep it moving. So that's my final word for you, and go and be blessed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time here. I really appreciate you talking about the growth mindset, the agile mindset. Thank you very much. And I wish you all of the best in all of your endeavors.
Thank you for having me, and
Thank
I look forward to connecting with you soon again.
Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy your day. Thank
And
you. So there we go. You've heard it all from our one and only Bukola Meshida. She's been awesome. She's given us this education, there's nothing difficult as long as you can put them in chunks. So many benefits of having an agile mindset. So if you want to connect with her, you can go on Instagram, go on Facebook, and she will be there to answer all of your questions. Thank you very much for being here and waiting till the end. God bless you. Have a lovely evening, and I say bye bye.